The first part of the Fear Street trilogy is now on Netflix. It came out today, and I just sat down and watched it. This one takes place in 1994. A circle of teenage friends accidentally encounter the ancient evil responsible for a series of brutal murders that have plagued their town for over 300 years. Welcome to Shadyside. Now, I was excited for this, but I did go in completely blind. I didn't watch any trailers. Like, I saw that, it was a 3-part trilogy, and I really like the approach they're taking. They're releasing one every Friday, so it just kind of comes to a close quicker. But what did I think of this movie? Well, I really enjoyed it. When it started, I got major Scream vibes. The opening is very much like Scream, and I don't mean that as a bad thing, because obviously Scream is one of my favorite horror movies, and a lot of people will say it feels like the modern day Scream, but I would actually disagree. Sure, there are many moments and maybe some plot points that feel similar to Scream in the first act, maybe the second, but especially the first act, but by the third act, it becomes its own thing, and I really enjoyed it. I will say, I did start to enjoy the movie more and more as it went along, and when we start discovering more about this kind of witch that's pulling some strings here, I thought it got a lot more interesting here. There are definitely some cliche moments, but the movie is self-aware at times, and I feel like that's what you need with a film like this. It has to be self-aware, and it has to show to the audience that, yeah, it knows what it is, because we have all the cliche characters, We have the guy who's kind of stupid, and he's fun, he's entertaining, he's like the audience character in a way. We're supposed to laugh at him. We have like the really intense one, we have a relationship here, all this, and I won't get into all of it. I'm not going to spoil anything in this review. I'm not going to say more than that about the characters, but I thought they were really good, and also the acting here from especially these main teenage characters was really well done. Of course, it's always a worry when you have young actors. You're always like, oh, okay, they're leading a film. What's going to happen here? But I thought they were all really good, and it kind of gave me Stranger Things vibes, but insanely gory. An insanely gory version of Stranger Things at times. Like, I mean, it does open with Maya Hawke, who obviously is in Stranger Things, and even the lighting and like the Shadyside Mall that it's in reminded me of like Starcourt Mall from, I think that's what it's called, from Stranger Things. But I thought it's pretty cool. And talking about the blood and the gore, oh my god, it is really well done here. This movie is bloody as hell. I did not expect it. I was like, maybe it's like a PG-13 movie. I didn't even look at the rating when I clicked on it. I thought it said like TV 14 or whatever, like PG-13. But I was very wrong. There's lots of swearing and there's lots of blood, and like as it went along, I was like, okay, they swear. Oh, they're still going. And then when the kills start happening, I was like, yeah, this isn't PG-13, but I thought it really benefited from that because we really see how serious the situation is for our characters. And talking about the actual characters besides their personalities, I thought what they did with them, how they kind of bounced off each other and I'm trying to say this without spoiling it, like came together to try to fight this evil was really good. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I think that the third act is easily the best part of the movie. There are times in the first act when it can feel a little cliche, and there are a few lines here which I will admit I did laugh at. Like, I feel like the dialogue overall is pretty good, but there's like the odd line. There's one in particular, I'm not going to repeat it just because I need you guys to experience it when you watch a film, which I do highly recommend doing, but this guy is talking to a cop, and the cop says something, he says his last name, which is good, and the guy's response from inside a prison cell is just hilarious. And sometimes the film does struggle to kind of stick on its own. In that first half of the movie, it does feel like it's taking beats from Scream. There's lots of references to Jaws. There's a clear parallel to The Shining, which I enjoyed. The Shining's my favorite horror movie, where a certain character is kind of slamming the axe into a door, and I was like, okay, it's cool. It's a cool little nod to it. They'll be easy to pick up on, but I don't really think that's a problem for the most part, although there was a few times where I was like, okay, are we gonna kind of go on from this? And as for the scares, I think this movie is scary enough. Like, I didn't feel, terrified while watching it. I didn't jump at any moments. And there were a few times where I was like, okay, and I'd point, and then like the certain jump scare would happen. And they're like jump scares, but they're not like full on, the ones that really make you jump out of your seat. You kind of just go, okay. But I think the film benefited from that because it didn't feel like it just needed to scare you and make you jump out of your seat. It also needed to have these characters and have them bond and have them come together in an interesting way. And I also really like what they did with the whole story with the evil of this movie. I don't want to go too into it because I do suggest going in blind. Like, if you're watching this review, I'll say a bit, but I won't spoil anything. I really like what they did, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with part 2 and part 3. I do think this movie is very good, and I do highly recommend checking it out. Fear Street Street Part 1, 1994 is a very good teenage horror movie. In the first half of the movie, it can struggle to be its own thing, but by that third act, I thought they did an excellent job here, and I'm going to give Fear Street Part 1, 1994 a 4 out of 5. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Part 2 and Part 3. I think the setup here was really well. They also used my favorite Soundgarden song here. I won't say which one, but I think I've revealed in some videos. I thought that was really good, and they used Radiohead's Creep. They used some good music here. You know, it's 1994, which was also the best year for movies. I think it's a good start. I'm interested, really interested to see what they're going to do with the other two films, and I will be reviewing them, and I'm also going to review The Tomorrow War very soon, sometime this weekend. That film was just a lot longer than this one, so I was like, I don't have that much time today, so I'm going to watch this one first, going to talk about it. I do love to talk horror, but have you seen this film? Please tell me what you think of it if you have in the comments down below, and are you excited for Part 2 and Part 3, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.